Yeah, that's that done. And now what? That'll be that bit. I haven't sprayed that bit. Oh well, back to the spray booth. Hi everyone, welcome back to part 4 of the E-Models build of the Trumpeter 148 scale U-Boat, the Type 7C, by me, Ted, here for E-Models, emodels.co.uk. That's them down there. There they are. Right, in this video we're going to have a look at putting together the control room. We've done the forward torpedo room, the officers' sleeping quarters, and we're moving aft now. The next compartment back from that is the control room. That's where all the business happens. The skipper doing his skippering stuff, the helmsman driving the submarine, and all the other knobs and buttons and dials and valves and things that have to be pulled, pushed and pressed to make a submarine function. I've had a couple of weeks to have a look at this since the last video was made, and I've got that one finished, because it's really it's not so much difficult, but there's quite a lot of parts in this that we need to sort of get together and work out what we're going to paint and when we're going to paint it, and it caused me quite a bit of a headache just trying to work out when to paint, where to paint, which to paint, because as you know, you can guarantee that as soon as you've painted something, got your airbrush out, been to the spray booth and put everything together and sprayed it all, you put everything away, clean it all up, put everything away, and you find some bits that you haven't painted, and it caused a real headache because the instructions in the paint call out are not exactly easy to follow. You have to keep going backwards and forwards and then looking at what parts are in the assembly instructions as to what parts they refer to in the paint guides, because they're not numbered in the paint guide. But I think I've got the idea and I've got on with it. But let's go across to the bench anyway, have a look where we've got up to and see. I'll show you what I'm talking about anyway. So let's get across the bench once I've pressed the button down here somewhere. There we are. Alright, here we are. Here's the paint call out for the Type 7C U552. And as you can see, if you have the model yourself, it does sort of show the colours and all the numbers of the paints and everything that's called out there, but it doesn't show everything on one page. There's some pieces around here that are all missing, and some pieces here, and then you turn over and it shows the other end of the compartment. And there's bits missing from down here now, so you can't sort of cross-reference them without having to go backwards and forwards. Now here's the deck head. This is all the overhead bits. Here's the hatches here, and the apertures, the hull openings for the periscope. The other one here, but then it continues. It goes on again to this. This is separate again. It's included see what I mean? You've got to go back again. That's the bit that goes in here, but it's shown all the way in here. And then there are these parts here that are not a part of that body, but they have to be glued on. So you've got to work out from your assembly instructions which parts they are. See these here and these bits here, which parts they are, so that you can then find them on the sprue, and there's loads of them, to work out what you're going to paint. But I think I've got it done, and what we've done at the moment is I've got this bit sort of generally assembled. See it there? That's it there. Now, I had a little bit of a discussion on the eModels live stream about what this part was. It really baffled me because it's quite a big piece of equipment, and I'll show you the little guy here. I think you may have seen him on the web, and that's how big it is. Now, I wonder what it was. We've had all sorts of discussions and suggestions that it may be part of the escape equipment. Yeah, but it's going to be, get a guy to go, is it going the wrong way? Get a guy going in there. In escape equipment is quite, it's going to be a tight. There is a manhole type opening here, which led to a suggestion that it may be escape equipment, but I don't think it is because of where it's positioned. Let's go back to the corner, because what we do, see how complicated it is. There's about 1, 2, yeah, that's the last room there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of construction just for the control room. Now there's that bit there, goes next to the access ladder there, which I can't find it now. I've lost the route. I've lost the deckhead. But there is the openings. There's 1, 2, 3 openings. So this part does actually come through the hull. And then if we continue on, working it out, where did I find it? I'm trying to find it now. There's the engine room. We've got that to build yet. Continue further on. I think it goes right to the end, almost to the end here. Now we see here, here's the base of the bridge fin. There's the conning tower, the bridge fin access into the control room. There's the first periscope, and there's the access hole that we're talking about here for this piece. Now that, as somebody has mentioned and thought of, is there. It is what we believe now is to be the equipment for the attack periscope, and I think that's all it can be, because there's 2 periscopes. There's that one there, search and attack, or attack and search. I'm not sure which way around they are, but I think that's what it's going to be. See, so that's what it's going to be. Now then, in the control room, sorry if I'm waffling a little bit, but I'm just trying to get this across to you. What we found in the control room is that there are 2 shades of paint. They're painted at about halfway up. It's shown as H118, and above that is H338. So the control room is painted in a 2-tone colour. It's the only compartment that is. We can see here on this bulkhead, see if you can work it out on the camera, it's painted in 2-tone colours. So you've got to have a straight line running right round the boat. The equipment here, some of the equipment here is painted the same colour as the lower one, and some is painted in 338 as it goes up. Now 338, 118, the colour of this, you see I've already sprayed this half, is Mr. Hobby 118. Now it is the call out as per the actual call outs. What I've tried to do is I've tried to convert all the colours to acrylics, and yeah, I've got an acrylic, but it's oh, sorry about that. The computer just sort of shut down. I just was about to tell you what this was. This is the Mr. Colour lacquer paint. Unlike the acrylics, this needs a bit of special attention if you're airbrushing, or in fact using this, because it stinks. I thinned it with the appropriate Mr. Colour thinner, a lacquer thinner. There is Mr. Colour levelling thinners as well, but I went with this and I used this, and it's a pretty good paint to use, obviously from e-models, but what I've done, I've used the colour as the call out, because I couldn't actually find a conversion to an acrylic. I was just getting myself lost going round and round in circles, so I thought, what the heck, I'll just use the colours that they were. But yeah, if you're going to use this stuff, either use it outside or use it in a well ventilated area, preferably, or I would certainly recommend a proper half mask respirator, not one of these paper DIY dusting things, because it will knock you out. Plenty of warnings on the back for it. Right, now then, because we've done that, and because of lots of lumpy bumpy bits, yep, you heard it right, lumpy bumpy bits all around this piece of equipment, there needs to be a demarcation line right round half of it, about halfway up, and I've been scratching my head wondering how I'm going to do this. Then I came up with an idea because of how to do it, because obviously we painted the first part and we didn't want to overspray the second part, so how were we going to mark it off? Yeah, we could use masking tape, some of the thin Tamiya masking tape, but that I don't think would have got into all the nooks and crannies. So what I thought about doing was trying some blue tack. I just wait till we'll move this out of the way and get the white balance to come back properly. Was using the blue tack and trying to get a straight line, but what we're going to do is feed the blue tack in to where we want, about where we want to go, and using, let me just get out the drawer, excuse me a moment, there's a bit of noise in the background. Using a shaping knife is just to get the blue tack to go in, and you can fill it in. Just get the blue tack in and keep it sort of generally in the right sort of place that you're going to want the defining line. Now, hoping this works. I haven't actually done this before. It was the thought that came to me, and I thought, well, we'll try it out. We're doing it live on cam, on the video, so you can see how it goes and whether or not it works. So we can press it in. Don't worry too much. We're not, at the moment, we're not trying to get it exactly on the line that we're going to spray to. We need, what we're trying to do is fill all the gaps in. Now, if it doesn't work, we'll just have to respray it again. So pushing it down. Sorry if I'm bouncing the camera a little bit, but that's it. Now then, what we're going to do now is find our demarcation line. Now, hopefully I've pressed enough in this to fill everything. So now we go for our scalpel, And working about where we need to be this is where our spray line is going to be. Do you get the idea now what we're doing? It should, I'm saying it should, hopefully fill the line, and we have a nice line around the other side. We haven't, no, I haven't quite met it. Doesn't matter, we can take the first lot off, and we can see if we got it right. What we need to do, you just need to make sure, you could use a white tack. I understand that, well, I believe that white tack is very similar to blue tack, but it doesn't leave an oily residue. But I'm thinking that in this case the blue tack isn't going to be on long enough to cause much of a problem. I just need to feed it back. Just when you lift it off, just need to touch it back down just to where it's lifted off. Right, we can just see in there how it's just pulled away. It's just when we've cut it, it's just pulled away from the surface a little bit. We're just to push it back and we should be doing the job. There's a little bit of concentration here. Now, it's not a matter of measuring it's not a matter of measuring how high up the demarcation line is. It's a matter of judging it by eye from checking the pieces of equipment that are on and where. See it's just at the bend on those pipes there, and round the back it just goes over the top of that piece of equipment there. So we can work to that, and we can see there, I think we can see that piece just needs to be pushed in there a little bit, because remember, when you're airbrushing, your paint will creep. And I think we've about got it. There's just that little bit there to clean up. But I'll do that and then get it across to the spray booth, and we'll have a look at that. And the same we can do here as well, as we saw before on the watertight bulkhead. In there, there's that line that goes across there, which is this piece in here. I've already sprayed it. So I've just got to do the same now and get a piece of putty just to go across there, and then I can spray the top. So right, I'll go and get that done. That's this part done, and then we'll come back and have a look at something else. So see you in a moment. Hi everyone, well, welcome back. Well, I finished at the spray booth, and I've let everything dry, and I've got to the best bit I like about airbrushing. It's when you start to take all the masking tape and everything off and reveal the final the finished paint coat. It's a bit like Christmas really. I really enjoyed this bit, but I've taken the masking off the first part, the bulkhead. If you remember in the colour call out, this bulkhead was the two-tone colour as well, and things look generally okay. The blue tack masking does seem to have worked. There doesn't seem to be have been any paint creep, and it looks like it's given us a good line to work around on this, nice and sharp. And yeah, other than a little bit of residue that I can just see there, which just dabbing off, it seems to have worked quite successfully. So I think we'll put that one in the book of things that we can do again. And yeah, looks alright. So when you get to this bit, or if you've got any lumpy bumpy bits to mask off on any of your models, bit of blue tack. Right, I'm going to get the rest of it done because there's lots of colours and things here, lots of bits of equipment that have already been sprayed up and painted, and it's time to go and start assembling. So right, there's that flash to the camera again, never mind. Right, I'll catch you in a moment. Bye, see you in a moment. Right, here we are, here it is. Here's the control room. This is the deck in the control room with all the bits and pieces glued to it. There's still a bit of work to do on it yet, with some weathering to do, and just a couple of little extra pieces before it all goes together. This bit here we have confirmed it's part of the attack periscope system. It's probably working on gyroscopes and things like that inside a sort of a basic computer, an early computer, which will work out the firing resolutions and angles for the torpedoes before they're fired. Don't ask me how it works because I just haven't got a clue. Now then, the control room is a little area where, well, not a little area, it's the area where the commander takes command of his submarine. So in here, in the control room, it's where it all happens. It's where the submarine is planned, its day-to-day routines, where it's planned on its missions. The chart table here is used as obviously the chart table to put the charts on so they know where they're going, working out the courses to steer. Also, this is where the submarine is controlled for diving and surfacing and steering it and getting it around places, and there's a lot goes on in here. So one of the things that we could do in the control room is to make it look a little bit busier, and to do that we could add a little bit more detail. And one of the details is using this big space here is to actually put some charts on it. Yeah, we could get a little bit of paper and draw them out, but I find that when I've been making models in the past and I've been trying to make charts or maps to go on tanks and things like that, I found that if I draw them, they never quite they never look right. You know, the colours are wrong and things like that. So what I did, I went on to the internet, a quick search for sea charts, and I produced, if I can find them now, I produced these. Now these are, you go to Google, type in sea charts and print the screen. No, type in sea charts, select images, and you will come up with a page like this. Select your page and then print, and and it will print out like this. Now these are a little bit big, particularly for 1/48 scale. So I'm looking around again and finding out the other prints. So using your printer settings, reduce them in scale and take them down and down. I think these are the bigger ones. Which ones are the big ones? These are the bigger ones. Take them down, reduce them in size until you get yourself a set of charts of the right scale. These are the original ones, I think. However, it doesn't matter. Just keep reducing them. Reduce them down. I think I went down to about 40%, and you produce yourself a couple of charts. And then all you need to do is just cut them out. Find a suitable chart. Try and find a suitable chart. One that will fit nicely on the table. That one there. Then taking, when I can find it, there it is, taking a suitable sharp knife, cut one out. And it is simple and easy. Black in it, yeah. My hand's affecting the white balance. And it's as simple and easy as that. And you see that you will have here a sea chart. Doesn't matter about what's written on it or how it looks. Come back here. If the white balance doesn't whap it out there, we have there a sea chart, and that could go on the table like that. Now you could. Charts are never folded. Certainly in today's day, charts are usually now on computer and sat navs and things like that. But for my seafaring days, on the marine units and things, charts were never folded, because you would always end up that some of your course of steer would end up in a fold. So charts are always rolled. So looking for something to roll it round. Just a piece of this, just give it a quick roll on the ends, just to give it that curl, and then by adding it to your chart table, there, simple. I'm going to glue it down. Obviously I'll glue it trim it to size. It needs to be just a little bit smaller, yeah. Glue it to size. But that's how you would produce a chart, something of detail in your submarine. It's simple, just something simple, and you can do the same principle for adding other things around the submarine. You probably think that as you go around any ship or any sort of place of work, people will take photographs, mementos of people or the home, particularly if they're away in a submarine for a long time. So they will pin up some pictures and photographs, and you can do exactly the same here. Here we have a small selection. You can't quite see them on the camera, but these are a small selection of a screen print of German propaganda. These are German propaganda posters from the Second World War. Just search the same. German propaganda posters, Google search. Shrink them down. I think these went down to about 4% in size. And as you can see, I've already cut one out there as well. And you can stick them in your submarine, and it just gives that air of, you can see these, it just gives that air of something sort of different. It adds the white balance is going, yeah, I'll have to lock this, but you can do the same as well. You can just perhaps make out in there, can you? No, it's not gonna let us. There we go. E-models. Oh, they've got an E-models, must be the Deutsche E-model company, and a little photo of somebody above it. Wondering who that is. But yeah, but you can do the same. You can do the same with photographs. I have here, I've used the paper wisely. It says, can't find it. I have here some photographs of Donitz and Hitler, which I'm sure in the Second World War there will have been pictures of their admiral and the Führer dotted around the submarine, so I'll be cutting some of those out and adding some of those in the submarine. There we go again, add Donitz and Hitler. Google search, there we go. Photographs. And you can add anything you want. So that's a little bit of a touch just to have a look, you know, just to make it something that you can add in the photographs. Right, that's, as these are all affecting the white balance, let's get rid of them. Yeah, so that's what you would find. Well, you certainly find the charts in the control room, and that's just the one of them. So right, I've got a little something now that we'll go and have a look at. See this bit here? Let's go and have a look at it in the submarine itself. Alright, see you in a moment. Okay, right, this is some footage from the PC game from Ubisoft, Silent Hunter 5. I got given this by my son, who'd had it kicking around in his bedroom for some time, and asked if it would be of any use. So I just sort of had a look at it, and then I realised that the submarine featured in this is the Type 7C, the same type as we're building at the moment. And looking around at the gameplay footage, it seemed like it was fairly accurate to what is going on in the kit as well. So I thought it'd be a good idea to use that as a comparison and sort of find how things relate to each other inside the submarine. Right, so without further ado, let's go across to the submarine, get on board, and we'll go and have a quick look around. Okay, see you in a moment. Right, welcome aboard the submarine. We start at the top of the conning tower and we'll move down into the first section. There's the top sides where we've just come from. And looking around this first section, we see pieces of equipment all around the bulkheads. And there is the attack periscope, where the commander conducts his attack and works the resolutions out for the torpedoes. Moving down into the control room itself. We'll find one or two members of the crew down here, and the skipper sort of working everything out. There's the chart table that we spoke about earlier. Moving around, there's the other desk with the bits of equipment, the code books, identification books. That piece that we installed in the submarine. Move past the skipper and we move aft a little bit in the control room. We can see all the wheels and dials, even some bananas hung up. We can see the checker plate floor. That's quite faithfully reproduced in the kit itself. Having a look around some more bits of equipment. All the dials, levers, everything everywhere. And there we have a first look at that piece of equipment that there was a bit of a discussion about, and we now know it's part of the attack periscope that we just had a look at on the deck above. Obviously the navigator there working away at his charts, and there's the sort of manhole shaped cover. I'm sure you can identify that part and equate to it now. Looking around again, and just to the left of the skipper there is the that's the search periscope. Some more bits of equipment, not quite sure what they are, but the chap sat down on the right hand side there, that's the helmsman. Moving through the watertight bulkhead, we come into the officers' sleeping quarters. There's the skipper's bed, the privacy curtain around it, some equipment cabinets, back the watertight door, and here is the sonar room. There's the sonar operator, he's waiting for his orders. Looking forward again and move forward a little bit. And now we can see the radio operator waiting for the orders to come through, orders to sail. This is the sleeping area for the senior ratings. The bunks on the left hand side we put into the submarine. These on the right here where this chap's sleeping, these have been removed so we can actually see into the submarine in the kit. And there, that's the toilet, if you know where you're at now. That's the toilet door, the heads. Moving forward now into the torpedo room. We can see how narrow these submarines must be for living. There's two torpedoes on the floor. Remember, there's maybe a dozen guys living in this area. The bunks are stored away at the moment, so we can just see the torpedoes and the racks for moving them about. Load them into the 4 torpedo tubes which are there. Probably the torpedo man there. So we have a look round. That's as far forward as we can go. We move back again now. Slide past. Leave these guys asleep in here. And we can get that watertight door open. So the sonar equipment, and there down in the bottom, down in the corner there, just in front of the door, we can find some bits and pieces of storage. They must have used every bit of available space in here. Alright, we're back into the control room now, and I think that will leave it from a submarine. Let these guys get on with what they're doing, and hopefully this part's worked and we can use it again in the future. Anyway, so let's get back to the build. See you in a moment. Okay everybody, welcome back. Well, hopefully now you've had a look around the submarine and can sort of appreciate where everything goes. I say hopefully because as I'm filming this bit, I haven't really an idea of what the video around the submarine is going to look like. But never mind, we'll carry on. We're going to finish now and put this control room together. At last, it has fought me all the way. There's hundreds of bits. There's painting to be done. There's weathering to be done. There's parts to be glued on, and there's parts to be re-glued on as they all fall apart because they get knocked off. But finally, I can hope that we can get it all together. And as you see, we've carried on and done some of the weathering, just the same as we've done before on the previous decks, the officers' compartment and the torpedo room. And now it's time to put the bulkheads in. That's one of them. I think that's I think it's a forward one. I'm not quite sure which way around they go yet. And the aft one. And also the deck head as well. That's that bit in here. Now you did see the problems that we had with a fight in the officers' compartment of all the pipe work that went in and across the top. There's some pipe work to go in on this one with a couple of valves on it. There's a little another one, pipe work here. I think that's a speaking tube. It looks like a sort of communications type thing. You remember on the ships where they just used to hollow down a voice pipe? That's that one. The ladder is to go in as well. It does say on the instructions to put it on and glue it in, but I find that it actually protrudes through the access hatch, and it's best, I think, if you leave this off until everything's together, and then you can slide it in and glue it in place. It's just when the dry fit, it did sort of make things a little bit difficult to try and get things together. Another thing I've left free, I'll just move these out of the way, we'll swap them around, is the search periscope, because it protrudes through and you can push it through, say, and I'm not quite sure how much at the moment it needs to go through. It will only go one way. There's a little locating lug on it, but I'm not sure how it goes through, because I'm sure this rests on the bottom mount on the control room deck. This little bit here, there. Right, so rather than subject you all to the cursing and swearing and pushing together and things like that as it all glues and falls apart, I'm going to go and get it done. I'll come back to you in a few moments time when hopefully it's all done and we can have a look at putting the lights in. The lighting in this one is a little bit different to what we saw on the last video of the officers' compartment. I'll explain more of that when we come to do them. And that bit's just fallen out, I see. Right, here we go, get it done. See you in a moment. here we are again. Doesn't look like we've done much, but this time I've gone and put the lighting in. Look, watch. White lights, red lights, white lights, red lights. The principle of putting these lights in was the same as in the other sections, where we just took some 1.6mm drill, drilled the lights through the deck head and placed them in. This time what I did, because of the different colour in the lighting, I just wanted to make sure that the lights were facing the right way. I didn't want them sort of facing the bulkhead and sort of losing the brightness, or filling the cabin with light. So what I did each one individually, and you can't really see them, but they are in there. There's one there, there's the first one. I did each one individually, just checked it for position by turning it round, and then just put a touch of super glue just to hold the wire in the right position, and then, as we'll do before, we'll come along and fill these holes in so that no light escapes through the top of the deck head. Right, there's quite a lot of wiring for these because they're bicolour. There's three cables on each lamp. These here are the resistors, just to bring the voltage down so that we can run them off batteries, and the batteries won't run out as quick. So that's how they come. They're already prepared. There's the live feed for this one from the battery pack that goes direct and feeds each light, and then the neutral return, that's that one. And then the switch here, which is a changeover switch, as we spoke about before. Center off, one colour, and then the other one. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just quickly going to put all these cables together. I'm going to leave them in lengths because we can't cut them off because of these. But what I do want to do is make sure that these cables, these wires are all sort of kept together, and then when we find the final position, we can run them out. Now, what do we need for this? The best way I could do this is to do a little bit of soldering with it. I'll show you just briefly how to do some, just maybe things out of the way, how to do some just quick soldering. What do we need? We need a 40-watt soldering iron because the wires are not really too big. We need some resin core solder. This is solder with a flux in the middle of it. It's rather small, but if you were to put it under a magnifying glass, you'll see that down the end of the core, down the end of the wire, throughout the wire is a layer of flux. A small screwdriver just to unfasten the cables. This is just a temporary setup, just to try everything out. Now what we need to do here is twist the cables together, twist wires together, keep calling them cables, and we are going to get a bit of a mix up just down in here because they all will cross over, but just make sure you've got, in this case there's 5 wires from 5 lights, or 3 lots of 5, 15 wires, and all the right colours are all together. Now all we need to do is tin that. I'm going to fetch the stand in here just to hold these onto. Now what we want to do, all we're doing with the soldering iron, we're not putting drops of solder on and then taking them to the cable. We're using the solder that we've tinned the end of the soldering iron, just to transfer the heat into the cable itself, and it doesn't need much. And just touch the solder onto the cable. Hope you can see that. Let's move the camera in a little bit more. Once again, just tin your soldering iron, touch it on, let the heat transfer into the wire, and we're done. A bit of an extra piece of solder on that. Soldering again. Just touch the soldering iron to the wire, and we should be all done. And it's as quick and simple as that. Hope you could see that. But nothing, soldering isn't anything to worry about. It's ideal. It's an ideal way for doing photo etch, actually, if you're building photo etch parts. And if I bring these up now, we should be able to see them. They are quite cool now. How they, I think this one needs just a touch more. Well, they're all soldered together now. Makes for a good electrical connection. And we'll trim those up. Just take the ends off if it'll fibre snips. I'll just use these. What I may do is actually extend these wires rather than put them into a connector block like that. I may just use some extra wire just to extend the lengths of them. When we put them into the hull, we can work out remote areas for putting the switches. And we're going to have a look at that now, and we're going to see what it's all going to fit together like. Right, so we've gone to the final parts, I think, so see you in a moment. Oh, welcome back then. Well, this section, I think we'll make this the last section of the video. This control room has really fought me on this bit with all the bits and pieces, but I said that already anyway. I thought I'd get the hull out, and we're at a stage now where I'm beginning to think we should see how it all goes together. It's the first time I've had the hull out of the box, and since I did a review and I looked in the box and things like that. So it's time to give it a go. Now I've moved the camera back a little bit because I don't really know how we're going to get it all in, but we'll have a go. These are the three sections. There's the officers' quarters, the torpedo room over there, and the bit that we've just done with all the cables, the control room. Now it does look as though it does go together fairly simply. I'm not going to glue them in, I'm just going to put them in for effect. There are locating parts in the hull itself, and hopefully we should be able to slot them in. Right, this is the bigger bit. That must go in there somewhere, like he says, like that. That's that one in. Yep. Right, the next one will be the officers' quarters, and that will clip. It does seem to be that there is room in the what would be the outer ballast tanks. So there should be some room enough to get the cables in. I'm just moving them out of the way for this bit. I'm just gently, I'm not trying to force anything in, I'm just trying. This is the first time I've done this. So that sits in there. Then that one, yes, look at that. Yeah, as I say, it looks like there's room here in the ballast tanks for the cables to run along. So it's just about finding a way out for them to the switch. Right, they can slot in there as well. This bit. The ladder's just catching there in the access hatch. There, it seems to go in something like that. So there are the first 3 sections. It's quite heavy now. Looking something like. I think, yeah, there's going to be a need to spray on the inside of this because if we're going to see sections of the hull from the inside, certainly need to be spraying them black or something. Right, let's take these out and we can discuss what's going to go on to on next with the hull, because I think it's time to sort of start some work on the hull. Although we're not ready, it's not going to be ready till the end. I'll put them there. What I do have to do for this hull, all these freeing ports. So I think rather than just wait until the end, until I'm ready to work on the hull and then start drilling all these out, there's loads of them. Some down here, some along here, some further down here, lots of them. I think rather than sort of stay at the end and just sit down and drill them all out, I'll start and do a few now. I can't even get it all in shot. There we are, some down here as well. These are the torpedo tubes, the bow doors. So I think I'll be getting the drill out and having to go at these bit by bit and eventually get it all done. Right, I think we're going to call this video, this episode, I think we'll call it for tonight. It's been a bit dragged out trying to get it along, but there's been really a lot going on and lots of bits to paint and glue together in that control room. But what I'm going to do from now on, until we get to this bit, until we get to the hull and we start painting and weathering and the bits that you want to see, I'll start and do some video diaries. Rather than sitting watching everything going together, which becomes a little bit repetitive, unless it's bits and pieces that I think might be of interest to watch and how it goes together, because it's just a matter of paint, glue, weather now for the rest of the compartments. I'll just do some quick video diaries. It'll allow me to get this built quicker as well, and then you can come back and see it from time to time, and then, as I say, once we get to the outside we start painting and weathering, and until it all starts going together. You can come back and see it then. Anyway, I'm waffling on, but thanks for coming along, thanks for watching, and thanks to the guys at eModels, emodels.co.uk. As we say, if they haven't got it, you probably don't need it for your modelling needs, but if they haven't got it and you do want it, contact them, get in touch with them and see what they can sort out for you. But that's all from me at the moment, from Ted, and thank you for watching. It's been a long episode, this one. It's been a long time getting this out. Alright, time to go. I'll see you next time. Bye now.